Forward to item B and ask for a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as presented. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I'd make the motion that we adopt the agenda for regular council meeting Monday, November 28th, 2022 at 1 p.m.
Call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving down then to C, proclamations and announcements. I'll ask the legislative clerk. There are none on the agenda. No one's in the gallery. We'll move forward. Page 3, please. Item 2A, regular council meeting minutes of November 14th. I would ask for a motion, please. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the minutes from November 4th, 2022 regular council meeting be adopted as presented.
Thank you. I ask council if you have any questions or deletions. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Item 3, business arising from the minutes. Seeing none. Number 4 is a public hearing. We have no public hearing today. We'll move down and get it right into our bylaws. Page 8 of your agenda, please. Item 6A, our rates bylaw. Mr. C.A. Williams, would you like to announce the start of this?
Yeah, Director Lindeman will speak to this one.
Thank you. So the 2023 rates bylaw was presented to council at the November 7th Policies and Procedures meeting. Since that meeting, there were 3 changes made, as you can see, to schedules A, C, and G. And the changes are outlined in your RFD, in your agenda package. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those.
Thank you, Director Lindeman. We have reviewed this several times, and now I open the floor to council. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Your Worship. I appreciate those changes, Director Lindeman. They're, especially to the fire, it makes it much clearer. I also just have a question with regards to page 30 on the chart. Should it not have a public swim up on top of it to identify what it is? I'm just wondering if that's possible to just add public. Is that public swim? I would imagine it is public swim. But since we've identified everything else within the list of the bylaw, I think we might want to identify that particular chart as public swim.
Thank you. And I'd ask if you turn to page 15, please, on the cemetery rates. Just a question with regards to housekeeping. Where the resident summer is, it states A, and A is winter. Should we not change that to B? It states, yeah.
Yes, I see that.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, we have, I will move forward then. And I would ask for first reading of bylaw 2022-23 as amended. Councillor Ryan, and then Councillor Blatz will move down for the...
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that the first reading be given to bylaw 2022-23 rates bylaw.
As amended with our changes.
As amended, yes.
Thank you. I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? No opposition. That's carried. Second reading, Councillor Blatz.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that second reading be given to bylaw 2022-23 rates bylaw as amended.
I'll call for the vote, please. Those in favor? That's carried. I saw Councillor Walsh's hand up. Consent for third and final reading.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that unanimous consent be given to present bylaw 2022-23 rate bylaw for third reading.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. I'll ask for the vote. Those in favor? No opposed, so we will move to third and final reading. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I'd make the motion that third and final reading be given to bylaw 2022-23 rates bylaw as amended.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank CO Williams and Director Linderman and all the work they did to provide this bylaw to us. Now I will call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Page 38, please, now, of your agenda. And that will be our 2022-26 Municipal Planning Commission bylaw for third reading. Did you need to speak? CO Williams?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. Just to say, the first two readings were approved at November 14th meeting. Unanimous consent was defeated, so it's just here as it was on the 14th for third and final reading.
Thank you very much. Councillor Blatz?
I will make that motion, Councillor Dahl, Mayor Dahl, pardon me.
Thank you. I'm glad that I could see you over there. Deputy Mayor Blatz, go ahead.
I move that the Municipal Planning Commission amending bylaw 2022-26 be given third and final reading as presented.
Thank you. I will open the floor if anyone wishes to speak at this time. Seeing none, I will call for the vote for third and final reading. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Councillor Ryan opposed? Thank you. My apology. That is carried. We are now moving down to new business. Page 41 of your agenda, special council meeting. And page 41, I would like a motion on the floor first, please, and we can speak to if we need to. Councillor Ryan, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that council call a special council meeting for Wednesday, November 30th, 2022, at 9 o'clock in the morning to consider the 2023 operating and capital budget.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. I will open the floor to any questions from council at this time. Seeing none, we'll move forward and I'll call for the vote. Those in favor for the date? That's carried. Thank you. Item 7B, page 42. I can speak to it if you like. All right. You've received a request for decision from our CAO with some information that we've received that CAPE would like to have a municipal representative be an elected official. So in the recommendation, I would like to call nominations for this. I'd be happy to start with the first nomination, and I would ask if council would like to appoint Dan Daly. And if there's any further nominations, please rise. Councillor Blatz.
I was going to ask if perhaps maybe Councillor Wilson would like to be reappointed, as he was there already once, and I thought it might be good to have the continuity, but it was only my suggestion. I'm perfectly happy with Councillor Daly, as well as if he's willing to accept the nomination.
If there's no further, I will ask the nominations. We'll start with Councillor Daly. Would you be open to this nomination?
Yes, I'll accept it. Thank you.
And Mr. Wilson, Councillor Wilson, would you be open?
Sure, yes, thank you.
Okay, so now we have two, and our legislative clerk does have some numbers here for us, and we'll go through the process. Councillor Ryan?
Mayor Dahl, I was just wondering if I could ask a question while we're doing the voting.
Absolutely, Councillor Ryan.
Thank you very much. I just wondering, because we had suggested that having CEO Williams or our economic development officer on this position, does that mean we have to rescind that posting then?
A very good question, and I'll have CEO Williams speak to that.
That was the original motion. CAPE's bylaws apparently prohibit a non-elected official from taking a spot on the board. But this appointment, in terms of the mechanics, will just replace that motion for the appointment. So no need to rescind. It's just we weren't aware of that provision in Cape's bylaw. So.
Very good question, and thank you for that. Councillor Ryan. We'll just wait a moment while our legislative clerk counts the nomination vote. Thank you, Marcy. I would now ask for a motion, please. Yes, thank you, Councillor Cummings.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that council appoint Councillor Dan Daly as the municipal representative for the town of Olds to the Central Alberta Economic Partnership for a term of 1 year to expire at the 2023 organizational meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Cummings. And now we'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much, and thank you for letting your name stand as well, Councillor Wilson. We'll move along now to page 61, 43, please, item 8A. And I will ask, prior to having council's report period, before I go to council, I will ask, do you have any questions in regards to the request for decision, items in the request for decision on board's committee minutes? Seeing none then, we'll move to reports from council. This report period, we had it extended to October 11th, so you'll be reporting on period October 11 to November 27. I'll start over at this side, please. Councillor Wilson, you have a report in here, thank you very much for that. But would you like to add?
Yeah, I just have a couple items, so thank you, Mayor Dahl. As you indicated, I do have a report in there, the two boards that I sat on, the Parkland Regional Library Services and the Olds District and Chamber of Commerce. And just a question or a comment regarding the chamber. They did indicate and wanted to stress how critical it is, not surprising, for prompt snow removal in the uptown area. And they just wanted to stress the impact, the financial impact that has, that slow snow removal has to their businesses in terms of customers and people being able to get into the uptown area, park, and access the businesses. So there was a little bit of discussion, as I said, around the prompt removal of snow following those two successive snow events in early mid-November. And just the question, was there any other mitigating factors? I know the grader was inoperable for a while, I think, with some repairs, but just a question around whether there were any other mitigating factors around snow removal.
Would anybody like to add to that? Have you heard anything? Yes, CAO Williams?
Yeah, I've heard this as well from the businesses downtown and uptown, Olds rather. So I may be getting a day off or two here, but I believe the snow event occurred on a Tuesday. On a Wednesday, we had a wind event. So during those two events, basically, we only move the snow to the side. We don't actually commence snow removal. So by the time Thursday rolled around, there was already a snow advisory in place for that Sunday evening, 3 to 4 days away. And the decision was made to not pick up the snow with the next snow event so close, just for financial and operational purposes. So by the time that snow event was over, I believe we commenced on Wednesday. And snow was finished in Uptown. It took 2 days by Friday. So it was very much there was a breakdown of the blower in that time, but by that we had pretty much finished all but maybe 10% of Uptown, the purple route as I'll call it. So that particular delay was very much purposeful, more or less.
Thank you for that.
Go ahead, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. And then just tied in with that is relative to the parking ban that we have. The question again came from the chamber. That parking ban applies only to residential areas, the yellow, green routes. And the question was, as far as some of those collector routes go, or primary routes, why is there not a parking ban in effect for those routes?
Coincidentally, this is something that's going to come back to council more for discussion than decision, but we have been treating those red routes, we'll call them, as a parking ban in effect. I'm not sure if we've been actually towing vehicles yet, but it's something we recognize doesn't quite make a lot of sense. So they'll be coming back just for update and direction, more or less.
Great, thank you.
Yes, Councillor Blatz?
Thank you, Mayor Dolan, through you to CAO Williams, and I thank you very much for that update on the snow removal situation that we had, and I wasn't really aware of all of that, and perhaps maybe I missed some kind of information that was shared with any of us or all of us, but in the future, I think we need to be better at getting that information out and publicizing why we're not going to be doing snow removal, you know, in a timely manner or as per our policy, because I don't think a lot of citizens understood what was happening and why snow wasn't being moved. And I know if you followed social media at all, there was quite a few negative comments, somewhat derogatory sometimes even. So going forward, I just hope that we get better at informing our residents and citizens of what's taking place. Thank you.
Yes, I would want to add that I received information every day on snow removal. Would that be via email? Would that be something that you could just add to that particular day? C.O. Williams?
Yeah, and I personally don't follow social media, so I can't speak to those comments. But regarding the communication, right now I believe we only communicate when we're about to do snow removal. Which routes are designated. The exception are the red routes and the purple routes uptown. So yeah, we could advertise the rationale for not proceeding, but just as we were moving snow physically because the plow trucks were out during and after the snow events. Two snow events, one wind event, moving the snow, so the traffic. The concern I heard from uptown specifically was the shoulder of the road with people having to climb out of vehicles into snowbanks. So, but the roads themselves were cleared by town staff. So, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan has a question?
More of a comment, thank you, Mayor Dahl. Just that I did receive a complaint from one of the businesses saying that people were having difficulty climbing over those snow that was plowed up. So I guess the problem is that, you know, when you do that, I think we do need to put out some kind of advisory saying that we are delaying the clearing of the snow. I know that from this particular business that I heard from said that one of their customers tried to climb over it and actually fell. So that's not a good situation to have occur, and so I think we need to be a little bit cognizant of that kind of problem going forward.
Thank you. Councillor Cummings?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm wondering if this is such a discussion we want to have about snow clearing, which isn't quite what we're to have on the agenda, that we can add that to the agenda of an upcoming meeting, rather than continuing to have a conversation that's not on the agenda.
I'd like to remind you these are council reports, and if they bring it up for discussion, I will entertain it. No further comments. Councillor Cummings, your report?
Thank you. So, as I'm only on two committees, and only one of them met in the past reporting period, which is the Red Deer River Municipal Users Group, to which we had a new introduction to some new members, so it was just introduction presentations and whatnot, so nothing much to report on. I did attend one extra event, which is the Conversation Has to Happen event, hosted by one of our groups here in town, which is a very good organization, talking mostly about drug addiction and the overdose problems that we're having in our community. as well as suicide and depression. Other than that, just the regular old things. We attended every meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Cummings. And we will move around this way. We'll start with sorry, is there a question? Thank you. Councillor Ryan?
You skipped my report.
Oh, because we spoke last. My apologies. Go ahead.
No problem. Thank you very much, Mayor Dahl. I had a few things that have occurred during that report period. As I reported last time, Mountain View Seniors Housing, the board approved the 2023 budget with a 15% increase in requisition, mainly due to inflationary costs that resulted in a sharp increase in food, supplies, insurance, etc. Both myself, the CAO, and our vice chair met with MLA Nathan Cooper on November 10th. We had a good discussion around a number of issues, including the Lodge Assistant Program, COVID funding, Alberta Seniors Benefit Program, and staff recruitment. On the 14th, I attended a Zoom meeting with our CAO. We met with the Assistant Deputy Minister, David Williams, to discuss housing-related issues affecting seniors. Then I attended the MAP meeting on November 17th with the Mountain View Seniors Housing CAO and our finance director, who basically we discussed our finance situation and we had a fairly robust conversation. We also hope to return to MAP meeting at the next meeting to continue dialogue. That evening, I also attended the the Mountain View Seniors Housing Staff Appreciation and Service Awards on November 24th. I participated in a Mountain View Seniors Housing Committee with regards to the Affordable Housing Asset Management Framework, and the discussion is very preliminary at this point. PCPS, the board participated in a strategic planning session, brainstorming several ideas to create a new model going forward. And then the committee of the board is currently interviewing to replace the director. For special events this month, I attended the Friend Fest event, Remembrance Day ceremony, the MAP All Council meeting. Also participated in a Midnight Madness event, the Old Fashioned Christmas, riding on the town float. And I want to send special kudos to all of our staff who participated in the creation of an award-winning float. The parade and the other events that weekend were well attended. And then, of course, I attended the regular stuff, the council meeting, PMP, CAO conversation, and the CEO eval. Thank you. And I've written this report out, and I'll provide it for legislative clerk.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Now we'll move back over to the right-hand side here, and we'll start with, I will call her Deputy Mayor Blatz. She's got two there, so thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. And I attended all the regular council meetings, policies and priorities meeting, special council meetings, an organizational review, the MAP Joint Area Partnership meeting I also attended. I've participated in the CO conversation. We had an ICC meeting between the Mountain View County and the town of Olds. I also attended the Friend Fest evening, social evening, No Stone Left Alone ceremony at the cemetery that was held in early November, and the Remembrance Day ceremonies as well. I also was a participant with the Old Fashioned Christmas Float, and again, I concur with Councillor Ryan. Kudos to all of the staff who participated in building and decorating the float, and it was a great fun evening. And I attended one Mountain View Water Commission meeting. It was our organizational meeting, and then followed by the regular board meeting, where we did give first reading to the rates and also to our preliminary budget, which will be finalized at our next board meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And we'll move to Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Attended all the regular council meetings. Two boards that I'm assigned to, I guess. The library board had two meetings between last month and a half, and basically dealing with increased costs. They're back to pre-COVID numbers, so they're becoming very busy. And they talked about increasing adult programming fees, also COLA and all this other stuff that comes along with inflation. So they've set their budget within the parameters of the town of Olds budget amount given to them. Also, we had a South Red Deer Regional Wastewater Commission meeting. It's in October. We talked about our rates contingent on what the city of Red Deer does. And at that point in time, it was up to what was it? $2.61 per cube. So I haven't heard that the city of Red Deer has done anything different from what was expected. But I see we approved a rate bylaw today, so I'm assuming it came through as not a great increase. Other than that, attended MAP, and yeah, those are the three meetings I've had since last time report.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Your Worship. I had regular council meeting except being out on the November 14th meeting. P&P, conversations, OFL governance, as well as the OFL board meeting as well. The Citizens Patrol did not have a meeting in this frame. The Olds Chamber of Commerce, I attended the meeting on behalf of Wilson. Not working? How's that working? So on October 26th, as Darren had Councillor Wilson had a conflict, so I attended the meeting on his behalf. Attended the Olds Fire Department open house, as well as special council meetings as well. So, that's it. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, finally, I concur. We had two regular council meetings during this period, one organizational meeting, one special council meeting, one policy and priority meeting. We had two council conversations meetings. I'll just wait until these gentlemen are done. You're good? Okay. We've had two CAO council conversations in October and November with our CAO Williams. We've had two intermunicipal cooperation committee meetings with our Mountain View County in October and November, and we're working towards some key messages in the very near future for community and for councils. We set on November 17th the Municipal Area Partnership MAP regular meeting, and followed with a regional joint meeting, which was very beneficial for all. There was a Mayor's South Central meeting held in November. Some of the highlights for myself, I would like to just note that we attended the Chamber of Commerce Business Awards, where there was greetings. Olds Kiwanis Club installation of officers, where there was greetings. The No Stone Left Alone at the Cemetery was the pre-Remembrance Day event with the students from schools in the area, and they were amazing young children that really took some thought and some time and placed their poppies on the headstones. It was very nice to see. There was the very first annual Rotary Fall Friend Fest held. Some councillors attended that. Also, Remembrance Day for November 11th was a special day for many people. Brought greetings there. Olds Fashion Christmas Parade again, as it was said around the room. They presented the Town of Olds float. Kudos again to all the staff that were involved in the decoration and time and enthusiasm to build that. They won first prize, so congratulations to them. And then again, brought greetings to the event at the Cow Palace. I attended the Rural Municipalities Association Fall Convention in Edmonton. Just a couple of notes. I won't take much of your time, but the opening ceremonies was the General Rick Hillier. He addressed delegates on 50 points of wisdom for today's leaders, and he has wrote a book. He has a best-selling book that is all about people. Leaders act out of courage, accept failures, and remain perpetually optimistic. I really thought that was a good way to put it. Well said. Whether on the front lines of a business or on any situation that requires strong communication and vision, leaders go with their gut and make the tough decisions. And then he went on to express some personal storytelling with that. There was a presentation from the Nurse Practitioner Association of Alberta, and they shared their views and spoke to how they need to move forward in the healthcare crisis. And there was some very good information shared there. They had their very first, I attended the Woman in Local Leadership Networking session. It was a brand-new roundtable opportunity for newly elected women to meet and engage in open dialogue with female colleagues. Facilitators at the tables will review all the comments that were shared and create a support system for questions. This was spearheaded actually by Reeve Albers from Mountain View County, and there was maybe 20 tables there. It was the first time they've done this because they've had so many female elected officials in the counties this last election, and they were all asking for some support and some mentorship. So the door was open, and it was a very well done, facilitated session. So I could see it going on in the future, and I'm sure that you'll be able to attend some. A ministerial forum for both 2 days included 14 ministers, and many questions were asked repeatedly. So hopefully the rural municipalities got their answers. The resolution session was 24 resolutions were submitted this year. And they went over an hour and a half with their schedule, which made it very difficult to complete the other sessions they had on their plate. So they've learned a lesson this year that they either start the sessions a day early and keep it rolling, or have to reschedule their convention in that manner. I would like to ask, is there anything you'd like to add, CEO Williams, with any of the resolutions? They were very good resolutions on the floor, actually. Any highlights for yourself?
I think the local government fiscal framework resolution is something that's top of mind and very relevant, and we'll be discussing it fairly soon as well. Two very different points of view, as you can imagine, between RMA and Alberta municipalities. And yeah, the government is playing it well, in my opinion, making us to debate each other while they cut the funding. Well played.
With all due respect, the questions were lengthy and the answers were short. But that's all I have to report. So if there's nothing further, I'd ask for a motion, please, to accept the reports. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Blatz.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that the reports from councils, authorities, boards, committees, and commissions ending November 28th, 2022 be received for information.
I call for the vote at this time. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And moving to item 9 now, page 61, please. CAO report, his verbal report.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I don't have too many things. In the package, your agenda package, is the council action item list from the previous meeting, November 14th. The only one to requires update is the final one, the Circle K project. We do have, the issue was traffic trespassing on the recently completed area. We have several concrete and a couple temporary barriers in place right now, but the cable and post system won't be installed until the spring. But those barriers combined with the snowbanks ought to provide good enough coverage for now. Also, a note was sent out to council recently about a future priority setting session, and I believe January 19th is going to be our day. I'll communicate that to council, time and location confirmation, probably by tomorrow. And a note on the Wastewater Commission. I have received the final Water for Life grant application from CAO Weatherick last night. It should be submitted tomorrow. It's going to be approximately a $7.2 million application to Alberta Transportation to build the surge pond at the Town of Old's former lagoon site. The program, Water for Life program, is heavily oversubscribed, so it's a chance we may be denied this year, apply again next year, but that's a 90-10 split. The commission would cover the 10%, which I believe is estimated around $755,000. So the application looks good. The commission did an excellent job preparing it in consultation with Stantec, and we should hear shortly after the provincial budget's passed in mid to late April on the success of that. That's all I had.
Does council have questions for our CEO? Councilor Ryan?
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. Not a question, just a comment. Thank you, CEO, with regards to the Circle K project update. One of those temporary barriers, the orange one, has fallen over, and it's starting to slide down the hill, so maybe we could just get that straightened back up again. But otherwise, yeah, I appreciate having those barriers up, because certainly people are not driving over that area anymore, so that's great. Thank you.
And have to fill them with rocks because typically it's water and we can't do that this time of the year. All right, I'd ask for a motion then to accept the CEO report. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the verbal CAO report be accepted as information.
Those in favor? That's carried, thank you. Page 63, please, item 10A, financial update to September 20, 2022. Director Linderman?
Thank you. So included in your agenda was the financial report for the 9-month period, January 1st to September 30th. At 75% of the way through the 2022 fiscal year, the operating budget is 61% spent and the capital budget is 26%. We will see that come up in the next month or two as most capital projects get invoiced out October, November. And at this point, I really have nothing to draw your attention to. Everything is tracking as it should, and I would open up to any questions.
Yes, it's a very nice layout. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to Director Linderman. On your operating of 61%, do you see that going up, or do you see us with a surplus in that operating for this year?
That is really hard to predict at this point in time. Generally, we do have a surplus, but at this point, I would only be guessing if I were to say anything, and I like to err on the side of caution.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion, please. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I would make the motion that the financial report for the 9-month period, January 1, 2022 to September 30, 2022 be accepted for information.
I'll call for the vote, please. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you for the detailed report, Director Linderman. We'll move down to page 70, please, at this time. Correspondence and information. I'll get a motion on the floor, please. Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, I move that the correspondence and information report ending November 28, 2022 be received for information.
Are there any questions to any of these correspondence? Do we have any information yet with regards to whether Olds will be putting an application in for the fire services training grant? CO Williams?
No information to share yet. Director Andrew will have an update in his next report to council. Chances are, though, we will have more than enough projects to make an application.
Very good, thank you. All right, we have a motion from Councillor Walsh on the floor. I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. And that will be it for our November 28th regular council meeting. I'd ask for a motion for adjournment, please. Deputy Mayor Platts.
Thank you, Mayor Dahl. I move that we adjourn the meeting for Monday, November 28th, 2022 at 1:40 p.m.
Thank you. I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you all, and thank you for our viewers.